Yeah, here we go, y'all. Here we go. Welcome to Diverse Talking Heads podcast. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and man, we have a hot show for you today. We're going to be talking about Karen-isms. We're going to be talking about Ken-isms, and even a little bit of Tucker-isms. What we're not going to talk about today is what I have given as a term for myself, and that's Calvinisms. So I'm going to ask our distinguished panelists, please just give your name and let us know that you're here. We'll start with whoever wants to start.
I'm Charlie. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Vince, aka equals MC squared, the host of The Lab, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Vincent. Ladies, let's go in alphabetical order. Ladies.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy. I host a podcast called Nun Life, and I am also extremely excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Amy. And next.
Hi, my name is Karen. I'm retired and living life and traveling and enjoying it to the utmost.
All right, the good life, the good life. And next, my man, my friend, take it away. That would be you, Charlie.
I already introduced myself.
Oh, well, I'm sleeping. I need to wake up then.
I thought, oh, wow, am I hosting the show now? Wow,
Man,
got a promotion. Wow, it took like 4 episodes. Okay.
Man,
I'm Charlie again.
Well, let me get a shot of Red Bull. I'll be straight.
Okay.
You sure will.
And I'm glad to be here, too. I'll say that.
All right. Well, today our topic, as I said, is the topic of Karen-isms. It's funny because this week, as I was researching, I got a text on my phone. I looked at it, and it was from my neighborhood app, where people go to tell about things going on in the neighborhood and complain and they bitch and things that go on in neighborhoods in the app. And this lady had made an entry, and I swear to you, she was talking derogatory about the app and the people on the app. And she said, and I quote, "You guys are a bunch of Karens." As I was actually researching about Karens. So that brings us to, what is a Karen? Karen, I found, is a term. It's a disapproving, a judgmental, derogatory, negative term for a white woman perceived as entitled or demanding beyond the scope of what is normal. Now, last year in 2020, there was a lot of people talking about Karens. There was a lot of talk about, there was a lot of things that happened, and people involved in it were perceived as being, quote unquote, Karens. So I'm going to throw out the first question and ask, have you come across someone that, with the definition of Karen, could be perceived as a Karen?
Definitely. Yeah. I hope I'm not the only one, but yes, definitely.
So in that episode, don't use any names if you don't want to, but what happened?
This is actually fairly recent, and I'm not
part of it.
Go ahead, Amy.
Okay, sorry. I thought I didn't want to talk over everyone. Fairly recent, and this, I don't want to wander too far over into another topic, but I was at my child's school. She's a grade schooler. I was dropping her off. She'd had a doctor's appointment or something, so she was coming into school late, and there was another woman with her children dropping off at the same time. We do have to wear masks in school. It is still a state mandate. It's not personal choice. Where we live, you are absolutely required to have masks. If you are in a grade school, there's no option for it. And she and her children were all unmasked. And the principal or whoever was sort of meeting us in the office, said, oh, you forgot your masks, can you put them on? And the other mother just really didn't like being told that, had a little bit of a fit, threatened to call the superintendent right then and there. Sort of all of the hallmarks, if you could think of, at least the way I perceive a classic Karen. It was she didn't ask to talk to the manager, but she said, I'm going to call the superintendent. I don't want them to wear masks. It's a state mandate. Maybe nobody in the room actually wanted to be wearing a mask, but we all were because we were following the rules. A sort of attitude, at least in my perception, of we're special, they don't apply to us. And I also didn't like that she was doing it in front of children. It's one thing for adults to have a conversation, but there was my child, her two children. These are all young. The school is for children ages 10 and under. And then there was another child who I don't know who they were, but they were somebody sitting in the front area. And, none of this really mattered. And her voice was going to be heard. In the moment, I didn't do anything. She said, another thing she said was, if you're going to require it, then you should supply the masks. And I wish I kind of wanted to have the comeback, oh, like they do shoes and clothes, because those are required too. But I thought, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to add to it. I don't know that this is my fight right now, but that's my story. So I realized there were a couple topics there, and I know the focus of this episode isn't specifically masking, but to me, that was just such a very classic sense of entitlement, including I'm going to call the manager, AKA superintendent.
Well, in my neighborhood app that I was referencing to a few minutes ago, a lot of the conversation is about mandates, about masking, and people will go in there, and the thread can last for like a couple of days with people putting entries in there about what they think is unfair, and they're calling each other names and this, that, and the other. But if, let's say Karen is a Black woman, what if she had feelings against wearing a mask? Would she be called a Karen? Anyone?
Okay, but my understanding of Karens is a person who feels as if someone from another ethnic background should not be in any certain places or have certain things. And if they have those things, I'm going to question, I feel that it's my right to question, do you live here? Why are you driving that type of car? And those things are not questionable. When you work every day, you can go and do whatever you choose to do. And I look at it, those are their issues. I'm sorry. I look at it as if those are their issues, because somewhere in their background, I feel like they've always been pampered and spoiled. And that's where their sense of entitlement comes from. So if it doesn't work or fit for them, then I'm going to protest. No, you don't have the right to protest.
There you go.
It's like I was at the airport, and when you check in at Southwest, you can do early check-in, get your spot, and then when they call you, this lady actually questioned me about my position in line, as if I was supposed to show her that this is my slot, this is my spot. She's like, well, this is first class. I said, they didn't ask for first class. At Southwest, every seat is a seat. There's no first class anymore. And I was like, okay, 6 o'clock in the morning. And my friends are like, don't do it, because they knew I was getting ready to hammer her. But I was like, no. But when my hammering is not what other people think it's going to be. My hammering is going, when I walk away, I'm going to leave you thinking about why you had a conversation with me, because it was totally unnecessary. But that's the Karen mentality for me and my understanding. Yes.
Yeah, and that's true. What I was trying to point out is that a name is put towards a certain type of person or a certain type of characteristics of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time goes on, other people get pulled into that category.
Yes.
And that's what I was trying to point out. In African American culture, there's a long history of calling someone that is meddlesome, especially a white person, by a certain name. Okay, in the antebellum period, 1850 to 1861, that woman would have been referred to as Miss Ann. Miss Ann.
Really?
Miss Ann's always squealing. Okay, going to tell.
Oh, come Miss Ann.
Miss Ann going to tell on me. In the early 1990s, the name Becky was used. And,
Mhm.
Right.
Remember Becky?
I remember that.
That's
Yeah,
the
don't forget
classic.
Becky.
Right.
right.
Classic.
And then as late as 2018, before the use of Karen caught on, alternative names was Barbecue Becky. Well, I should say that those names match particular incidents that would
Yes.
go on. And if you're African American, you know what I'm talking about when I say Barbecue Becky, Cornerstone Caroline, or Permit Patty.
Wow.
If you were out having a barbecue and maybe you're not supposed to be there, Barbecue Becky will squeal on your ass to the police and get you in trouble, or to whomever, and get you to move. Or Cornerstone Caroline, if you're hanging out at the corner store and you look like you might be menacing or might be doing something you shouldn't be doing, shit, they will squeal on you. And
Yes.
then Permit Patty. If you have set up in a park, and we know Chicagoland, you have to have a permit to, have a gathering in one of the parks. If you are out there and don't have a permit, people have been actually asked, can you show me your permit? And it's like, well, who are you? And then Permit Patty would go and squeal on you. So I've opened up the door, and we've had someone come in. That's what I get for opening up the door and just let anybody come in here. We have a panelist that has joined. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Oh, yeah, I'm the late guy. I'm sorry. If you're referring to me, this is Robert Louis.
Right.
Just trying to be on time, could never get it done. I'm so sorry. But in most subdivisions, where we used to live in Georgia, there was always a poolside Pamela. You got your kids, you got your relatives, and she did. Do you live here? Like, are these your kids? Do they live here? I'm like, wow. But I think going back to what Calvin said, it's a moniker that we put on people who feel that a certain level of service or a certain level of expectation is unrealistic for them. They want way too much than a normal person would ever require.
Yes.
Like the lady complaining about the Audubon enthusiast taking pictures of birds in Central Park. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
And
With the
another
dog.
one.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was just supposed to introduce myself. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Robert.
That's okay, Robert.
May I say something on this topic? I think even when you show that this is not a new thing, it's been all the way back to the 1800s. I would probably even say it's further back than that. And I think that sense is built into what it means to be a white woman in this country, right? This country has always treated white women like they needed to be protected, like they were a cut above the rest, right? Same way to a degree that they treat white men. So